Hello everybody, just want to kind of show you my latest project. This is kind of a neat one, even though something's wrong with it. This is a power amplifier out of a 1942 Wurlitzer jukebox that my dad did a restoration on about 25 or 30 years ago. And this is their Victory model. It's like a 42 500A, something like that. You know, around 1942 there was a big clamp down on plastics and a lot of metals and whatnot for the war effort in World War II. So this jukebox is primarily wood and glass instead of their typical plastic stuff. And he's got another one over there, a 1015, which is the one I'm sure you guys are familiar with the bubble tubes that come up. He's had that since I was little. That's an original semi-restoration. But anyway, something happened a long time ago with the power amp on this. Like I said, 25-30 years ago. And he changed out a few caps on it and never was quite right. So we got into it the other day just to see if we could get it playing. And fixed a lot of electrical issues, a couple mechanical problems from it sitting around. And now I'm pretty much down to this. So I'm going to pull the tubes out of it and flip it over just so you can see what I'm working with. And if all goes well, I'll show the jukebox playing when we're finished. Well, here's a quick shot of the inside of the amp. You know, it's fairly basic. Everything's point-to-point soldered, so it's kind of hard to figure out what's where with leads jumping down to termination points and stuff like that. But thankfully, I've got the original, a copy of the original schematic for it, which I have to really look at with a jeweler's loupe. It's really small. So this is what I'm going to do. Some of the stuff you can tell had been replaced years ago and never played again. But it's still got a bunch of old caps in it, these old barrel type resistors and things like that. So it's going to get all new just to do it. I'm going to do this first, hoping that there's 4 transformers in this thing. I'm hoping that if any transformers are not good, it's the input transformer here and not the power transformers. But I'm going to go at it, you know. My dad, when I was young, I'd go to auctions and whatnot with him everywhere, and he'd buy old jukeboxes and restore them, fix them up, sell them, keep them, this, that, and the other. And I remember I counted 18 in our house at one point. You know, he was busy, and he would gut them out, take the mechanicals apart, fix the electricals, whatever he needed to do. But man, I remember sitting at the countertop for hours on end with him handing me some little spring saying, figure out where that goes, I can't remember it. And I think that's where a lot of my technical ability came from, which was playing with the mechanics in these machines. And if any of you haven't had the pleasure of looking up into one of these jukeboxes, the record changers and stuff like that, and all the stuff that goes into making it work, you need to try to look inside one, because it is a marvel, in my opinion. The engineering that went in it, pre-computers, engineers drafting on paper and coming up with these mechanized systems that are just outstanding and astounding to look at. So, you know, I'm personally kind of tired of looking at them, but I'm going to see if I can get this amp playing for the old man. Alright, everything's been installed and cleaned up. Looks pretty good. This is the only cap that we couldn't find locally, but it appears to be alright. So gonna put it in and see if it works. Well, I've definitely made some progress. I sent the amp home with my dad yesterday and still has some problems. Not with the amp itself. The amp actually works. He stuck it in one of those other jukeboxes and it, according to him, works better than the one that was in it. But I need to go through this volume control box here. You know, there's your volume, bass, and treble. So it's going to get all these components new. Quite a few of them in there, but this will be really easy. It's all easy to get to. This, that, and the other, but all these plus 2 are what are going in it. It's amazing how things have changed throughout the years and how things got smaller. Here's an example of a resistor. This is an old barrel type. Not sure how they're made, but from that to that. And then here's another resistor. Look at the size of that thing. I think that was maybe a 3 watt. And it goes to something about like this. So even though this has got a roomy box, it's going to be a lot roomier once I get finished. So I'm getting ready to build this, rebuild it, take it over there and see where we're at. The speaker's blown on it. The cone's got some tears in it, so probably gonna have to get a recone on that. So it may not sound great if it even works. The speaker hadn't got that far yet, so we'll see. At least I've got the schematic on this too if I have any problems. This has never been touched, so this should just be a basic R&R operation and move on. Well, I have all the new components installed. Went off without a hitch. Made that box a lot more roomier with the smaller components that it comes with. I did notice something that was a bit odd on this schematic. It notes a C25 capacitor in here, and it certainly was not in this. We purchased it, but my guess is this may be an upgraded schematic here for maybe the year after this one was put out. No telling. So it was never touched. Everything was original. Nobody's ever been in this except me now. So it didn't get it, so it should work. Called my dad and let him know it was ready. It's about 11 p.m. He's like, I'm coming over to get it. It's like, okay. So he's going to take it home and hook it up and see if it works. And if it does, he's going to recone the speaker anyway. But if it does, I'll try to get by there tomorrow and shoot a clip of the jukebox itself, because I really want to show you guys the components inside the mechanicals, because it's like I said, it's absolutely amazing. So thanks for watching and good luck.